Have you ever made a choice that seemed smart at first, but ended in disaster? Let me tell you about a man named Lot. He was rich, he was respected, he had animals, servants, a big household. He even had a famous uncle, Abraham, the man who listened to God and followed him no matter what. But Lot's story? It's not just about blessings. It's about temptation, danger, escape, and something no one saw coming. This is the incredible, heartbreaking, and strange story of Lot. Lot grew up around holiness. His uncle Abraham taught him all about kindness, believing in one God, and living for something bigger than yourself. Lot followed Abraham when they left their homeland and journeyed to the land of Canaan. They traveled together, prayed together. Their tents stood side by side. But after a while, trouble began. Both Lot and Abraham had many animals. Their shepherds began to argue, fighting over whose sheep could graze where. Abraham didn't like arguments. He said, "Let's not fight. You choose where you want to go, and I'll go the other way." Lot looked around. What did he see? A beautiful valley, green grass, water flowing. It looked like paradise. It was the land near a place called Sodom. Now listen closely. Sodom looked amazing, but the people there, they were evil, cruel. They hated kindness. They didn't help the poor or the needy. They punished anyone who tried to do good. One time, a poor girl gave some bread to a hungry man. And what did the people of Sodom do? They smeared her with honey and tied her to the top of the city wall so bees would sting her. She died from it. That's how cruel they were. In Sodom, you weren't allowed to welcome guests. If you did, you could be beaten, or worse. There was no justice, no mercy. They would hurt people, steal from them, laugh at their pain, and act like it was normal. But Lot wanted the wealth, the comfort, the easy life, so he moved closer and closer until he lived right inside the city of Sodom. And there, everything began to fall apart. At first, Lot still tried to do the right thing. He welcomed guests into his home, just like Abraham had taught him. That was dangerous in Sodom, where helping others could get you in trouble. But after some time, Lot wasn't like Abraham anymore. Slowly, he became part of the city. He married off his daughters to men from Sodom. Lot and his wife Edith raised his family there. He became one of the leaders. Now here's something important. Even though Lot lived in such a bad place, Abraham still loved him. When Abraham heard that God was planning to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, he prayed. He begged God, "Please, if there are 50 righteous people, will you save the city?" God said yes. What about 45, 40, 30, 20? God said yes each time. Finally, Abraham asked, "What if there are just 10 good people?" God said, "If there are 10 righteous people in the city, I will not destroy it." But there weren't even 10. And so God sent 2 angels to the city to destroy it. The angels arrived at night. They looked like regular travelers. No one could tell they were special. But Lot saw them and quickly invited them to his house. He knew how dangerous Sodom was. He made a feast for them and begged them to stay inside. But it was too late. The men of the city found out. They surrounded Lot's house. They shouted, "Bring out those guests. We want them." Lot begged, "Please don't do this evil." And then he said something shocking. He offered his own daughters instead. That's how scared he was, how confused and desperate he had become, living in such a wicked place. But the rioters didn't care. They didn't want the daughters. They were after the guests. That's when the guests revealed who they really were. Angels. They pulled Lot back inside, slammed the door shut, and then blinded the rioters with a flash of heavenly light. The wicked men stumbled away in confusion, unable to see. Then the angels told Lot, "Get out now. God is going to destroy this place." Lot hesitated. He didn't want to leave everything behind. But the angels grabbed his hand, his wife's hand, his daughter's hands, and pulled them out of the city. "Run for your life," the angels said. "Don't stop. Don't look back." Lot ran, his wife ran, his daughters ran, but then Lot's wife looked back. Just one look. She looked back with regret. She didn't really want to leave. Her heart was still in Sodom. Poof! She turned into a pillar of salt. To this day, in Israel, near the Dead Sea, there is a mountain called Mount Sodom, and a tall salt formation standing by itself near the extremely salty Dead Sea. Many people believe that it's a symbol of Lot's wife, frozen in place for all time, as a warning not to look back when God says go. Lot and his daughters ran for their lives alone. When they reached safety, fire rained down from the sky. Boom! Crash! Sodom and Gomorrah were wiped off the map. Smoke rose from the earth like a volcano. The cities were gone. Lot and his daughters hid in a cave in the mountains, alone, afraid, everything they knew destroyed. Now comes one of the strangest parts of the whole Bible. Lot's daughters thought the whole world had ended. They believed everyone was gone and that it was up to them to keep the human race going. So they made a hard and unusual choice. They gave their father wine to drink, and when he was drunk, they each married Lot, and he didn't even know it had happened. Months later, they both gave birth to their father's babies. The older daughter had a baby boy named Moab. The younger daughter had a baby boy named Ben-Ami. These boys, even though they did not come from a normal family, they still grew up and became the fathers of two great nations, the Moabites and the Ammonites. And even though it all began in such a strange and confusing way, something amazing would happen later. From the nation of Moab came a woman named Ruth, a kind, brave, and righteous woman, and from Ruth came King David. Yes, even from a dark and confusing story like this, God can bring something good. Lot's story is a warning and a lesson. He wanted comfort over holiness. He chose the easy life over the right life, and in the end, he lost almost everything. But still, God showed mercy. Lot was saved, his daughter survived, and from their children came people who would one day change the world. What do you think about Lot? Should he have stayed with Abraham? Was he brave or foolish? What would you have done? Let us know in the comments. Like this video, share it with your friends, and tell us who should we cover next. Maybe you want to hear about Ruth, or King David, or even Lot's wife. You choose the next story. And remember, no matter how dark things look, God always has a plan. See you next time.